Good afternoon, good morning, depending upon where you are around the world. I am Marcus Holmes, the love activist, and welcome to Love and Stuff. I hope you will click share whether you're watching us live on Facebook or any of the other places. It's Stress Awareness Month in April. And as you may know, stress can be debilitating and it can actually aggravate and cause health challenges. And since stress is a normal part of the human existence, nobody is immune to it. It's important that we use tools so that we'll have the knowledge to recognize when stress rears its ugly head and what we can do about it. We don't always notice when it happens. And we can also improve the quality of our lives. It's important to learn some strategies for coping with stress. It's particularly a silent scourge because a lot of people don't talk about the stress and maybe don't even understand it. So, tonight in the Love and Stuff community, I want to first, as a disclaimer, tell you that if you feel that you need professional help, you should certainly seek that out from a therapist who can help you with additional coping strategies. What we hope to do is to invite you into inside Love and Stuff as we walk through setting healthy boundaries in this month, which we think will help to alleviate some of the stress. It's Love and Stuff, and I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join us now.
Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those who hold and near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People live and laugh, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again. And love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy. One day, someday, pain will be over and love will reign.
Love Will Reign. I'm excited about that song by Kiera Coleman Ward. And we love Kiera for allowing us to use it as our theme song. I play it in its entirety because I want everyone to hear the message about Love Will Reign. We're live on Love and Stuff. And those of you that have already joined us on the Marcus R. Holmes page or the Love and Stuff community page from which we emanate, or also from YouTube events and Twitch TV and Twitter, I hope you will click, share, and tag someone to join us in this discussion tonight. We are on a journey, a very intentional journey about self-care. And in this journey, we recognize in the month of April, which is Stress Awareness Month, that our journey leads us to setting healthy boundaries. And if you haven't joined Inside Love and Stuff to get all of the free content relative to this, you do need to go to the page under groups, join Inside Love and Stuff. It's a wonderful group of about 67 people who are on that journey, intentional journey with us about stress awareness, about sleep, about meditation, about all things self-care. And we're doing a different focus every month. And we'd love for you to join us. This month, it's about setting healthy boundaries. And one of the things that is coming out of that discussion is because we often don't, we say no to ourselves, right? We say yes to everyone and everything else, but we say no to ourselves. So in this month, I want to invite you to join us in practicing and saying, because no might be hard out the gate, right? No might be hard. So I want you to practice saying, not now, not now. Someone is asking you to do something, or you feel the pressure to do something, and maybe you're not at a hard no, but you can practice saying, not now. Practice pulling the pressure off you and saying not now. And the way we want you to practice is first with yourself, to say to yourself, not now to the things that do not serve me well. Not now that it doesn't serve me emotionally, spiritually, physically. It does not serve me well. Not now. I'm going to give myself a second to catch a break, to say whether or not I want to participate in it. Because listen, we add undue stress to ourselves. And stress, as I mentioned at the outset, is a part of human existence. It's a normal part of human existence. Hello. Thank you, hashtag Karen. I just love Karen so much. Thank you, Lena. I love you too. I love all of you. I don't want to just say I love Karen. I do, but I love all y'all. And I wanted to just make sure that everybody is aware that this is Stress Awareness Month. And there are many things that you should know from the National Institute of Mental Health. And I invite you to go there because stress can motivate people. It can motivate them to prepare or perform in life-saving situations in that fight or flight. It can get adrenaline going, but it can also be sickening, literally. People that are under stress, especially those prone to chronic stress, if you have immunocompromised situations or other health conditions, you're more susceptible, did you know, to a variety of ailments that are exacerbated by stress, from headaches to insomnia, high blood pressure, and heart disease, among many of them, right? And a survey, by the American Psychological Association found that there are 5 factors that are most often cited as a source of stress. So I want you to think about these things as you think about coming to a not now. Money, work, family, economic outlook, which means the future of what money is going to be or life, and relationships. Those are the 5 factors that are most often cited as sources of stress. They are money, work, family, economic outlook, and relationships. So I want you to think about it. We're living in a world where it has been rumored, forecast about recession, mild recession, great recessions, right? We're living in a world where relationships are challenged unlike ever. And if you haven't seen some of the questions that we're dropping daily on the Love and Stuff page, I'm going to share them to my page. These are questions you might ask in your relationships, right? Because relationships are a big part of our lives. Our family. outside of just the relationship, boo or bae, husband and wife, sometimes with our kids, our parents, our siblings, right? Work can be a big source of stress and money, right? All of those things are factors that are cited as sources of stress. Even in Wallet Hub, there are some states in America, Louisiana, depending on where you're from, New Mexico and West Virginia are considered high stressed states. Low stress states are considered Minnesota, North Dakota, and Utah. Just some of the, I want to share some of the facts. And this awareness campaign around stress has been going on since 1992 and is exacerbated because we're all feeling it, right? We have to inform each other about the dangers of stress. And I think it's so important that we think about the dangers of stress. So I want to talk to you before we get into some of these healthy boundary opportunities, I'm going to call them. I want you to think about this quiz and these questions. There's a stress test, and there are 10 questions to assess your stress level. And you can rate each one from one, never, to five, always. And depending on how many total points you have or score, you can go from high stress to moderate stress, low stress. Okay. So 10 to 20 points would be low stress, 21 to 35 would be moderate stress, and 36 above would be high stress. And again, wherever you fall in the stress category, if you need professional help, I am the love activist. I am not a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist, but I want to bring to your attention that you can use healthy boundaries to help alleviate some of the stress, because I believe we add to some of the stress by the boundaries that we create and allow to be created that are not healthy for us, right? Number one, I experience physical symptoms, headaches, muscle tension, or upset stomach as a result of what's happening in my life. Okay. Never is one, five is always. So you can jot down your number and then I want you to share it out in a minute. Okay. So that was number one. I experienced physical symptoms like headaches, muscle tensions, or upset stomach as a result of what's happening in my life. Okay. Number two, I have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep due to what's going on in my life. Okay. I have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep due to what is going on in my life. One for never, five for always, and any number in between on a scale of 1 to 5, right? Number three, I feel overwhelmed by the number of tasks and responsibilities that I have. One, never, five, always. I feel overwhelmed by the number of tasks and responsibilities that I have. Okay. Number four, I find it difficult to concentrate or focus on tasks because of what's happening in my life. One, never, five, always. I find it difficult to concentrate or focus on tasks because of what's happening in my life. Okay. Number five, I feel irritable or experience mood swings more often than usual. One for never, five for always. I feel irritable or experience mood swings more often than usual. More often than usual. So if you have a certain time of the month that you have these things, do you have it more often than that? Have you noticed that it's more often than usual? Okay. Number six, I often worry about the future and have a sense of impending doom, that my end is going to be not so good. Things are not going to turn out good. I often worry about the future and have a sense of impending doom. Okay. One is for all, never, excuse me. Five is for always. Number seven, I feel a lack of control or ability to change my circumstances. I feel a lack of control or ability to change my circumstances. One for never, five for always. Number eight, I have lost interest or pleasure in activities I used to enjoy. I've lost interest or pleasure in activities I used to enjoy. One for never, five for always. Number nine, I experience feelings of anxiety or panic attacks. I experience feelings of anxiety or panic attacks. 1 for never, 5 for always, any number in between, right? And number 10, my relationships are suffering because of what is going on in my life. My relationships are suffering because of what is going on in my life. So for each of those questions, you gave it a 1 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And if you added those up and your score came between 10 and 20, according to this test, you have low stress potentially, right? Because we always want to go to a mental health provider or health therapist to discuss this further, right? Moderate stress is 21 points to 35. If you tally them up and got 21 to 35, and high stress if it's 36 or above. So if you feel comfortable with dropping your score in there in the comments, drop your score or inbox us. And if you say, hey, I think that's kind of high, I want to talk to somebody. I want you to talk to somebody. And I really want to share with you one of the ones that is often unusually high for me. There are times when I am more stressed than usual that I have lost interest or pleasure in activities I usually enjoy. That is a signal for me that I may be getting into a situation where I'm high stressed. All right, Kamal says 10. That's good. Low stress, very good. And so for me, I have that lost interest or pleasure in some activities that I would normally enjoy sometimes. Lena, good. That's 12. Good. Very good. Keep those coming. Tally them up and drop them in the comments. 35. Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. You had a moderate stress, almost to the border of high stress, and we want to be aware of that. So this is a start, right? It's for a point of reflection because any of these things could be leading to other health challenges as well. So we want you from this point of reflection to decide, hey, I need to consult with someone and have some discussion. And if you want us to help you facilitate that, we're here for you to do that. There are a number of stress scales. There's a Holmes, not mine, but I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but there was a psychiatrist is Thomas Holmes and Richard Rahi, who has a stress scale that measures life change events and their potential to cause stress. So then you consider your life events that are happening in terms of your perceived stressfulness on a scale of 1 to 5, and the total score is used to predict the likelihood that you'd have stress related illness. Okay, because it can impact your health, and that would be important for you to understand, especially if you have any underlying health conditions. And so, some of the questions that are asked on that particular scale, and again, these are scales that are done by clinicians, but I wanted to share some of it as we go into talking about setting healthy boundaries. Some of the questions are: have you experienced any significant life changes, such as marriage, divorce, job change, or moving? Have you faced any major financial challenges or changes? Have you experienced the loss of a loved one or had any health issues? How well do you feel you have coped with these life events? And so you would answer those questions, yes, no, and then you go back and answer for each one. How have you coped with them on a scale of 1 to 5? 1, not so well at all. 5, very well, or somewhere in the middle. And that would be a potential indicator of how this kind of stress could impact what's already happening health wise, or what could happen if there aren't any underlying health conditions. Perceived stress scale is another one that was developed by psychologist Sheldon Cohen. And it's a self reporting questionnaire that measures the degree to which you perceive that your life is out of control, that you have no prediction of how it's going to turn out, or you feel overloaded or overwhelmed. And this is also one that's used in clinical settings as well. And so some of the questions that you would be asked on this scale is: do you often feel overwhelmed by your daily responsibilities? How often do you feel in control of your life and circumstances? How do you usually react to unexpected events or changes? And are you able to manage your stress levels effectively? And how do you know? Okay. There's another one that is utilized more in the job context. It's the job content questionnaire. It was developed by Robert Karasek, and it focused on work-related stress. So it measures the job demands, job control, and social support, which your network at work, which are factors that contribute to what's called job strain and psychological stress. And some of the questions that you would be asked there: consider your work environment and the factors that contribute to stress at work. How demanding is your job in terms of workload and time pressure? How much control do you have over your work task and decisions? How supportive are your colleagues and supervisors? Are there aspects of your job that you find particularly stressful? And so you would answer those questions and then be asked to measure them on a scale to get a sense of how stressful your work environment is. And then there's a Maslow burnout inventory that we're going to go through quickly. It measures 3 dimensions of burnout: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and personal accomplishment. So some of the questions you would be asked: do you feel emotionally exhausted or drained by your work or other responsibilities? Have you become more cynical or detached from your job, colleagues, or personal relationships? Do you feel a lack of accomplishment or satisfaction in your work or personal life? And are you taking steps to prevent or address burnout? The last one that I'll share is the Trier Social Stress Test, developed by Kirschbaum, Perk, and Hellhammer. It's really been done mostly in laboratories, which are controlled environments. And sometimes there's a panel who would evaluate you. And here are some of the questions they would ask: how do you feel when you have to speak in public or perform in front of others? How comfortable are you with being evaluated or judged by others in social situations? How well do you handle criticism or negative feedback? Are you able to manage your stress levels in social evaluative situations? So, kind of delves into some of the many areas of stress. And these, again, are clinician based tests that will be done. And I think it's important that if you are like Karen or maybe some others who have a higher number, to just maybe consider having a conversation with someone, a licensed therapist, relative to coping mechanisms and strategies. But I also want you to take advantage of Inside of Love and Stuff and some of the resources that are there that can be companion to the great opportunities that you can make avail yourself to, some of which are in the Love and Stuff community. We do have licensed therapists, psychologists throughout this Love and Stuff community, and I'd be happy to connect you with them. There is no specific relationship to their therapies for Love and Stuff. We don't represent them in that regard, but I would be happy to connect you if you're interested in that. So, talking about setting healthy boundaries in the Stress Awareness Month, I think is so important because some of the stress that we experience, we have some control over, some of it. It is how we respond to stressors in our life. And sometimes the stressors in our life are the demands that we place upon ourselves and the demands that we allow others to place upon us. So, where we started in this month in our conversation inside Love and Stuff is: if you find yourself not being able to say no, a lot of women that are caregivers, a lot of dads that are caregivers, we found inside Love and Stuff that a lot of people don't like to say no to the people in their lives. They feel like they're disappointing people, they're letting people down. And maybe even worse, they don't know how to say no to themselves for things that do not serve them well. So we started in our journey of saying, don't start with no, start with not now. And decide that a part of the healthy boundaries that you're creating for yourself and creating for others, because we believe you teach people how to treat you, is that you say, not now. And we had some great conversation about that. And we invite you to join us inside Love and Stuff by going to under groups and joining Inside Love and Stuff. It's just a group just under 70 people, and we're building the group for people who want to be intentional about self-care. That's all that journey is about: getting to know the people inside Love and Stuff and a journey of self-care. but we talked about not now, how important it is to begin a not now journey, to say, not no, but not now. When someone is coming to ask you something and you are feeling emotionally exhausted with everything that's on your plate, instead of saying no, especially if you want to do something for someone, choose yourself by saying, not now, not now. In one example, we had someone sharing that they're the person that takes care of everybody and everything. Is that you? I know sometimes it has been me. And the reason I'm so intentional about working on the self care journey, because when I was a caregiver, I wasn't very good on the self care journey. I'm not even sure I was that great a caregiver, but I tried my best. And instead of caring for myself, because I needed to be fully present to be the best caregiver, I put my needs aside. I told myself no. At times, I should have been telling myself yes. And at times, I should have been telling myself no. I was telling myself yes, right? And so it's important that you set a not now if you don't yet haven't reached a place to say no. It's okay that you want to say yes to everything. But the reality is you cannot say yes to everything. And yes makes you feel good. It makes you feel like the champion, the savior, the superman, the superwoman. But the reality is that it drains you and it can be emotionally exhausting at work, in relationships where people are constantly asking you for money. And can you loan me this? Can you give me this? Can you give me this? You want to help. But the reality is that those monies should be invested, or those monies should be saved, or those monies shouldn't be a sense of worry about whether or not someone is going to pay you back. So one of the things we said is not now. You say to someone, not now, and give them a point in the future where you will follow up with them. So you might say, someone says, hey, Marcus, I gave one of the examples. Marcus used to sing Suns Up, Sun Down on the weekend. I did weddings and funerals and bar mitzvahs and you name it. I did pastors' banquets and prayer banquets, prayer breakfast and luncheons, you name it. Whenever I was asked, I felt a sense of obligation because I can sing that I should sing. And it robbed my entire Saturday. I would leave work on Friday and I would go to work Monday exhausted because I had spent the entire weekend singing. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to sing. Certainly, there are 1,000 people who can sing better, and maybe two that maybe that don't sing as well. But for whatever reasons, I was given the opportunity to do that. So I love doing it. But I had a problem with saying no, because one of the things for me that people that know me, I have a difficult time with funerals of people that I know. So it's not as easy for me to switch off and sing for people that I've had a personal relationship. If it's someone that I've never met before, I might be able to sing as clear as a bell, maybe. But it was draining on me to prepare emotionally and then go from one prayer breakfast to a family hour to a funeral to a lunch. I could have sang 6 or 7 times in a Saturday. I decided to say not now. And in saying not now, I can't do this one. Would you like me to find a singer who I think could sing as well or better? And sometimes people say, oh, please, are they going to be free? I said, well, no, they're not. Neither should I be, by the way. But I started to give them other options and say, I'm going to give you this number and I'll follow up with you on Thursday before the funeral just to make sure you've solidified so I can help you in that way. Not now. And I almost went from 6 or 7 engagements on a Saturday to none and just observing the Sabbath because it's what I wanted to do. And then if there's a funeral that I feel like I can sing, I can share, it would be a benefit to serve the people, the family well, and it won't be emotionally draining for me, I might accept to do that. Now, it takes time to practice that. It took time to say, I'm sorry, I can't. I've got a prayer breakfast at 9. Well, you can just come in and sing your song and leave. I can't give my best if I'm running in to sing my song and leave. Now, don't get me wrong, that's leaving money on the table back then, especially. But what was more important? At some point, my physical well-being, my mental well-being is at stake. And it can bring a lot of source of stress when you bring that kind of pressure on yourself. So I want to invite you right now to think about something that you want to do, but you feel like it's overtaxing to you. And I want you to get that in your mind. And I want you to say, not now. I want you to practice saying it aloud, not now. Because if you don't practice it, when it comes time to use it, you probably won't be as good using it, and you'll be talked into something that you want to do, but you don't have the wherewithal to do. So that's the first grouping I want you to consider. Yes, I want to help people. I want to sing at every funeral. I want to do every bar mitzvah. I love hors d'oeuvres, so I want to do all of the things. But I cannot do everything and maintain a balance of mental, emotional, and spiritual wealth, which is my true wealth in this world. I cannot maintain a healthy balance of those if I decide to do everything. Now we could spend all year practicing that, couldn't we? Because when you have the power to do good, you want to do good, but you want to do the best that you can. Right? And sometimes we're underserving ourselves and underserving the people we want to serve. Have you ever did something and you tried to give it your best, but because you had so much going on, it didn't quite come out to your best, and then you kicked yourself for not being able to do it at your best level? If you ever experienced that, give me some likes or loves. And what you want to do is the goal is you want to give your best where and when you can, right? We all do. And so you have to learn, for the things I really want to do, I got to start to say, not now. I've got some control over some of my life and circumstances when it involves the desires of others. That's the first thing I want you to consider. The second thing I want you to consider in that not now is the not now to yourself. Well, what would I be saying not now to myself? What are the things that do not serve you well? I want you to think about that for just a second. And I shared from my Lenten journey. And if you go back to Love and Stuff, you'll see the 40 days leading up to Palm Sunday. There was a scripture or an opportunity every day around Lenten. I practiced the Lenten season. And for me, I gave up pizza during the Lenten season. It was a not now that I still get to now, after Lenten season is over, choose to say, no, Marcus, you won't eat a whole pizza in one sitting, and you won't have a pizza 2 or 3 times a week because that's not healthy for you. It doesn't serve you well. It tastes great, but it doesn't serve you well. Not now. I'm going to reduce the amount that I'm going to use, not now. And whatever it is, if you are inclined to argue with your spouse, your significant other, about the smallest things, it doesn't serve you well to raise your blood pressure, and it doesn't tend to serve them well for you to maybe attack them, yell at them, scream at them. When you feel yourself in a situation that doesn't serve you well, that you don't feel heard, you don't feel valued, it's about the principle, even though people might think it's a small thing, choose not now. Arguing with someone who is emotionally charged does not serve me well. They're not going to really hear my point. They're going to lash out at me in frustration. They're going to throw things up from the past. Not now. What serves me well is to wait until a time that I can listen intently and hear their side without judgment, even if I don't agree with it. But give them the space to be heard. And most of us don't do that well in the moment, right? If we're being yelled at, or an argument is ensuing, or it's about to be an argument, it's about to be on and popping. But if it doesn't serve you well, if you're not going to have a good night's sleep after that, if you all are going to be at odds, if you're going to say something that you shouldn't have said, it doesn't serve you well. Say not now. Tell yourself, I feel this storm brewing. Not now. And say to your significant other, you know what? This feels like it's about to go left. Let's just watch a movie, baby. Let's just do this. Let's talk. Let's agree to talk about this tomorrow morning over breakfast. Let's agree to go on a walk and talk about this, but not now. You have to set not now boundaries for yourself as you're going through building healthy boundaries that will impact your levels of stress. So once you've identified those not nows, and they really should be connected to your core values. If peace is a core value for you, then you have to have a not now when conflict comes. Because conflict is not bad. But oftentimes we use conflict as a weapon to really inflict the pain that we feel, the discomfort that we feel onto others. But if your core value is peace, then you have to set healthy boundaries around that you're not going to be attacked, but you're not going to attack, right? And so once you've identified what your values are, then it's essential that you communicate the boundaries around those. Hey, I want peace in this relationship. And I know every time when you get upset and I get upset and we pick at the things that we know are going to create a fight, I don't want that. I want to know that you're feeling some kind of way, or you're not feeling heard. And instead of attacking you or you attacking me, I want us to back off that and wait a minute. Let cooler heads prevail so we can talk, so I can really understand what it is that is the problem. Because maybe I'm the problem, but I don't want to be the problem. I want peace. I want to be able to express my needs assertively, but I still want to be respectful to you so that we can have a healthy relationship. And what's next important after you identify those values, you got to choose the right place and the right time. Oftentimes, we got great points. We got great things that we need. We got great things that we want to communicate. We got things that will serve us well. But sometimes when we're setting the boundary, we say at the wrong time, in the heat of the moment, right? Someone comes to you who always comes to you, and only time to come to you is when they need something, and it's draining. We all may have those kind of people in our lives. We might be those for somebody else, right? And they see you coming, they're like, oh, it's that boundary, right? But maybe you don't select to put that boundary down firmly when someone is coming to you in that regard. You got to discuss it at a time that the conversation can be successful between the both of you. That helps to ensure that you're talking at the right time and you're both in the right mindset to address the same thing. So often we're having the same conversation, but the point of one person is blame and ascribing blame. The point of the other person is to be heard. What if you waited until you both could be heard on the same thing that you're discussing, that you're both in the mindset to hear? Because oftentimes, aren't we in the mindset to respond? We're listening to just enough to respond instead of deep listening to the body and how it aligns with what is being said. What is the spirit of what is being said? We don't often go there first, right? We go to, I'm going to respond to what you done accused me of, and I'm going to respond because you think you should be able to get this from me, right? But instead, the right time is when you both have similar mindsets around being heard or hearing. Very important. Right time and right place. The right place might not be with other people around, right? The right place might not be in that favorite spot, ladies, where his man cave is. That might be where he goes to retreat. You got to find the right time and the right place, something comfortable but neutral. When you're both in a relaxed state, not preoccupied with the game or the soap operas or reality shows. And you have to take the time to set or plan, prepare for that space to be empty so that it's just the two of you. No lookers on, no other conversation, not out at dinner. Well, this is good time as any. It isn't as good a time as any because you want it to be a neutral place where you both are able to be relaxed and not preoccupied, not wondering who's hearing us or who's looking, because no one wants to be embarrassed, right? Or publicly shamed. So, right place, right time is very important for setting healthy boundaries, whatever those boundaries are, because sometimes people cannot hear you because you have approached them in the wrong time, right? Whatever that boundary is. We talked inside where some people assign people, hey, you do this and you do this and you do this. You got people in your life that do that. Can you do this? 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 And maybe the right time isn't then for you to say, hecky no, hecky no, hecky no. You gotta do your part. You gotta do your part. You might just say it to him or her, not now. Can you make me a list of all these honey-do list items? And let's discuss them after dinner. I just love a minute to relax, have a glass of wine, have a spritzer, whatever it is you have, some water. And I just want a minute before I get the honey-do list. And let's see what items I can take on. Because I'm not going to promise I can take on everything today. Not now. But let's talk about it. You're setting those healthy boundaries for yourself, right? Setting those healthy boundaries. And it's very important that you do that. I am very thankful that we have so many of you that have joined, and I appreciate it. And thank you on YouTube. I see that you're joining. I want to just share as we continue to, we have a couple of partners, and I want to share from their businesses who are partners in the Love and Stuff community. First, from Blush Designs. I hope that you will consider supporting Blush Designs.
Do you have a birthday, anniversary, or special event? If so, the team at Blush Design Group is here to help you make it magical and make your guest stand or sit in awe. Blush Design Group takes the preparations off your shoulders, but never out of your hands. Here at Blush Design Group, let us make your dreams come to life.
Blush Design Groups will make your dreams come to life. That's Kimberly Wagner and Sharice. They are an awesome team, and you'll be hearing more about them as we prepare the summer for our mock wedding. We'll be telling you about that. We've been working on it for a little while, and we are excited that they will be a partner in helping us to bring that to fruition, but we'll tell you more about that as the dates come. We're talking about setting healthy boundaries straight out of our work in self-care. We understand in Stress Awareness Month that some of the stressors that we experience, we have control over how we respond to them. And so we're hopeful that you will join us inside Love and Stuff. There are about 70 people inside Love and Stuff. It's a group connected to our page, and we hope that you will take advantage of joining us in that group. We want to continue for a few more minutes about some of the things in setting healthy boundaries that I think it's important for you to start to do. And we hope that you will take some of these things to do for yourself. Some of them are, we already talked about the right place and time, identifying your values, number one, and making sure that your boundaries are around those values so that you can communicate that effectively to whomever you need to avoid bringing up those boundaries during high moments of stress or conflict, but making sure it's in the right place at the right time that you're bringing it up. And the third is use I statements. So you're going to express your boundaries without blaming or accusing the other person. And it will help to reduce the likelihood of triggering defensiveness in the conversation. So you're going to focus on your own feelings, your own experiences, rather than that of the other person's actions. It's hard to do, easier said than done, right? And you're going to work to state how you're feeling clearly. And you're going to state your needs clearly and specifically without generalizing them or exaggerating them. So, one example, you might say, instead of saying, you always cut me off. You always interrupt me. You always have to have the last word. You never let me get in the word edgewise. Instead of saying those, you might say, I feel unheard when I'm interrupted during our conversations. I feel devalued when you cut me off. I feel as if what I have to say isn't as important. You want to be firm, but compassionate. So you don't want to, you. You want to say, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. When you ask me to do things at the last minute, I feel used when I'm asked to do things at the last minute. I feel disrespected that my time is not valuable. I feel like my time is not considered as being as important as other people's time. I feel like my schedule is being interrupted. And I feel like that happens twice a week, 10 times a day, however it works for you, right? So that you're using I. This is how I feel. This is how I am experiencing what is happening. And then be quiet and give them a chance to respond before you assert the boundary that you're going to put in place. And they might say, well, I didn't know I was doing that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. I appreciate that, but that's how I feel. That's my truth. That's what I'm experiencing. Every time I go to say something, I feel like I'm not being heard. And I just want to be heard. I want to feel valued. And one of the ways I feel valued is when someone is listening to me. So then you have to be firm and compassionate because you want to be empathetic, but you want to be assertive. So you got to acknowledge the other person's perspective and validate their feelings. Okay, I understand you don't think that that's what you're doing. You don't feel like you're cutting me off. I acknowledge that and I hear you. But I am not going to continue to have conversation with you when you cut me off. I'm going to change the subject or I'm going to walk away. And that's how you'll know that I'm not ready to talk because I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. I don't feel heard. So when we're getting in an exchange and you cut me off, if I stop speaking and seem to kind of tune out, it's because I no longer feel safe. You're setting a boundary. It's firm, but you're not saying, and you do it again. Just see what will happen when you do it again. Right? Instead, you just say, this is the action that I'm going to take if that happens again. You might say to a friend who maybe takes advantage of your time and say, oh, I need a babysitter at the last minute. And you say, I feel, kind of used when you wait until the last minute. So next time, if you don't give me a day's notice and I don't think it's a true emergency, you just want to go hang out, I'm not going to be available to babysit for you. So if it's not 24 hours notice, I won't be available. When you can give me 24 hours notice, I'll be happy to if I'm available, but not now. Doesn't have to be nasty and say, them your kids. I ain't raising your kids and you never give me no money when I'm feeding them food. I feel undervalued as your friend when you pop things on me as a responsibility that is really a courtesy. And so in the future, when you do this, I'm going to do this. So that person starts to see your boundary. They may not always agree with your boundary. They may not understand your boundaries. But you can listen to their objections patiently, kindly, and you can address the objections if you want to, depending on the level of the relationship. And you should stay calm in addressing those and listening to them, actively listening to them and saying, what I think you're saying, is this what you're saying? You don't recall doing this 10 times, you only recall 2? Okay. Well, those 2 are 2 more than I would want, but here are some example of 6 of the other 8. Being able to give them facts and situations. And then maybe you come to some compromise and say, you know what, you're right. It wasn't 10 times, it was 3. So let's just say, let's not let this happen more than once a quarter. Or you figure it out, and I'm going to meet you next week to try to help you if you're unable to figure out a way to handle this thing. Those I statements and that empathy helps them to begin to hear what you're trying to teach them, that you have boundaries. This is excellent to do for yourself, especially, which is again what I talked about a little bit earlier. It's important for yourself, you have to set boundaries like that, serving your own self well. And I'm going to take a quick break to just share with one more of our partners here. Christina, the money coach, you might set some boundaries around your money. Christina, the money coach, is someone that you want to have to help you do just that.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
Thank you, Christina, the money coach. And she's helped many ladies, especially in and around the Love and Stuff community, to help set healthy boundaries around their finances. And really, if you delve into it, food, finance, money, economic outlook, many of those factors are all around our values, all around what we value. There are ways to control your stress. Not all stress, because stress is normal, as I shared from the National Mental Health Institute. It's a normal part of life. But some of the stressors are how we respond to those factors, to money, to family, to relationships, to economic outlook. And so it's important that you set healthy boundaries for yourself in all of those areas to alleviate stress where you can and to do the things that serve you well. If it serves you well to get your financial house in order, to get your money in order, to invest, to save, to do whatever it is you want to do to accomplish the goals and objectives that you have, Christina, the money coach, is a great resource, and we love her here in the Love and Stuff community. Thank you, Christina Smith. She's Powerful Money Tools LLC on all platforms, and she can't wait, as she said, to help you. We're talking today in Stress Awareness Month from a little bit of an intimate place, which is self-care around setting healthy boundaries. And I say it's an intimate place because inside Love and Stuff, we're all on a journey to have better self-care, to take better care of ourselves. We believe that self-care is your love and your gratefulness speaking to your worthiness, right? And I think when we don't take care of ourselves very well, we aren't grateful for self. We aren't loving self at a high worth, at a high value. Now, why is that? Many different reasons why. Some people don't have a high valuation for themselves, right? Some people don't. Some people never even consider it because they are highly evaluating everybody else. And those are two buckets, if you will, of people that I know are in and around our Love and Stuff community. And I want to just speak to your worthiness tonight, that you are indeed worthy to value yourself at a high value. And that is not selfishness, that's selflessness, because you cannot serve others well unless you have a good sense of self and a good sense of the value of how you pour into others. If you pour without measure, then you aren't being the best custodian of what has been poured into you by the quintessential love. And that is so important in self-care. And that's why in April, we find ourselves setting healthy boundaries. And again, I want to strongly encourage you to begin to set healthy boundaries this month and beyond by saying, not now. I think you'll get to know. I think there will be times that you will tell people, no, thank you, or no, I can't. And you'll tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't serve me well. But the reality is that if you're a caregiver, if you're used to serving others and not yourself, one way to take baby steps toward it is to say, not now. Not now is a great starting point because it is a commitment to consider it later. Ultimately, you may do it. at a time and place that is right for you. Ultimately, you may make space for someone new in your life and you may allow the boundaries to be negotiated. But you can always say, not now. Not now could be, I just met you and we're not going to a certain level of intimacy now. Now, for Christians, that's not until you get married, right? For some other people, it is not until some set point in the future when I feel it is the right place and right time. It's a healthy boundary because you don't have to give of yourself before you're ready to give of yourself, right? And you don't have to say no to things that you're interested in doing, but you put them off until it's a time that you feel safe, comfortable, and ready to do them. Or you feel that you can bring the emotional, physical, mental presence to them to give to them your best. It's about making a choice to say, I love you. I believe in you. I'm here for you, but not now. And it takes those people who are used to getting exactly what they want from you a little while to get used to it. But that's okay. They will if you will, but be consistent and be okay in saying that now. It may not happen the first time. You may buckle and say, not now. They say, oh, but I really need it and I do. And you might do it. Here's the advice that I've given when people do that, because people invariably will. When you say, oh, not now, they say, oh, but if you could just do it this one time, I really need it by tomorrow. Because if I don't get it by tomorrow, and what I advise is you say, no, not now, but here's what I will do. You start it. And if you need some help by tomorrow, call me and let's see what I can help you do at that point. You give them back the reins that they're trying to give you. You give them back the pressure that they're putting on you. And they might say, whoa, I don't know if I could do it. Say, well, me either. I don't know that I have the time, the mental space, the energy to give to it, but I could help you through it if you get going. And I think that's a better approach for us, don't you think? Well, I mean, you're just so good at this, you could do it. Yep. And I want you to be good at it so that you don't have to always rely on me. I need to set a boundary here so that some of the things that you can do, that you try to do them first. And then if you need my assistance, I'm here to help because I don't want to overtax myself with something I hadn't planned to do. Not now. It can be very effective if you're willing to stay consistent to it and say, not now. It's Stress Awareness Month. And I want you to think about your stress levels. If you just joined us across any of the platforms, welcome. I'd like you to go back to the beginning and take the stress test. Now, this test is not a diagnostic test in and of itself, but if you have score a higher stress level, you might want to talk to a healthcare professional, of which I am not. But it's to kind of gauge where your stress levels might be. And some of the questions will be great for you to gauge and a great place to start where you might say, money stresses me out. Having to pay it out, having to give it away, having to loan it stresses me out. I'm going to practice my not now around money. Or feeling unheard, feeling devalued in a relationship where someone yells at me or talks down to me, is verbally abusive, is abusive in any way. It doesn't serve me well. And I'm going to say, not now. Someone on the job is always pushing their work off on me or always making off-color jokes. I'm going to set boundaries because that does not serve my mental well-being well. And I am going to say, not now. Even in that example, I'm going to say, hey, I'm really not in the mood for those off-color jokes. I really don't think they're appropriate for work. Not now. And maybe later when you calm down, you go back and say, that's really something that is offensive to me. I feel highly offended when you make jokes about men or make jokes about women or make jokes about whatever it is. It makes me feel like you're targeting me in some kind of way. So in the future, if that should happen, I'm going to do this. But you can start with, not now. I'm disengaging from any opportunity that does not serve me well or does not serve the energy that I bring to the space well. This is Love and Stuff. And I want everybody to increase the amount of love in the world, one person at a time. I want it to start with a quintessential love that is God. He is love. And He has willed us into existence by His love. And He's written a love book to us and love chapters and signed them in blood, nonetheless. And He wants us to love Him with everything that we have and to learn to do that with all that we have. And then He wants us to love others as we love ourselves. That self-love, the neglected love, is what is trying to speak to your self-care and what is trying to speak to these healthy boundaries so that you will be the best love in your life to your children, to your wife, to your husband, to your boo, to your bae, to your parents, to your siblings. You can be a better love to them when you are loving you at a higher level, when you're upping your love game about you and you're bringing to bear the best self-care regimen for you. And in the month of April, where stress awareness is important, I want you to have self-care awareness as one of your coping strategies for the stress in life that will happen, because you have some choice in how you respond to stress. And you can say to stress, not now. I want you to build you a plan. And part of that plan is coming and joining us inside Love and Stuff, which is a group that's connected to the Love and Stuff page on Facebook. So if you're on the other platforms, come on over to that page. There are about 67, 68, almost 70 people that have joined the group. And we periodically get together, but I try to share content that's only available in the group. I'm sharing a snippet of it here tonight in the hopes that you will come and join the group, meet some fantastic people, from actors to preachers to uh, managers to leaders to family to grandmas to uncles to sports enthusiasts to fitness gurus, all of those, and regular people, regular smuggler, as they say, just like me and you, are in that group, all with the same goal of increasing our self-care, taking the best of ourselves through sleep, where we started in January, and nutrition, where we started in February, and getting moving and physical fitness in March, and now setting healthy boundaries. Join us. I think you will find that if you have a great self-care regimen, that you will have some coping strategies to deal with some of the stress that has happened in your life, some of the things that are happening to you. You'll have a coping mechanism to deal with those things better. Is there any one tool that will be one size fits all? Absolutely not. And you may find that you want to talk to a mental health professional, and there'll be no harm in that. There should be joy and an awareness that you need more than one tool or more than one coping strategy. And that's perfectly fine. And if you need some assistance in helping to navigate that, please inbox us at Love and Stuff Community. We do have licensed therapists within our community who would love to help you or refer you to someone who could help you if you desire. But as a first self-reflection, take that stress test and then make a decision to own your role in coping with the stressors that you can control. You can't control everything, but you can control the boundaries across which some things traverse. I'm hopeful, as the facilitator and purveyor of all things love, that you will find enough love of self to say, I am worthy to set boundaries that at least say not now. I'm Marcus Holmes. I'm so excited that you've come, and I hope you will do us a favor. I hope you will click share, tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, subscribers, YouTube followers, connections, 5 of the more popular ones to join us. I would just be so eternally grateful to have you to do that and to share with us. We want you to join us in the Love and Stuff community. We're back to our 8:30 time, and it's 9:37, so we're going to be rounding it out in just a moment. But click share, tag someone to join in the conversation, someone that you know is stressed out, someone that you know doesn't have a self-care regimen. Tag him or her and tag them right now.
What you wear says something about you, about who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. So here in the Love and Stuff community, we wear the brand that we live, and we live the brand that we wear because we love the brand. It's all about increasing the amount of love in the world and upping our love game. And if that's what you're about, you should wear it too.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're gonna check it out. Can't wait to learn more.